Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Positively Montana. I'm Hallie Schwinnard. Each week we travel the state looking for stories and people that inspire. Let's begin with a Skyview High School senior preparing for a career in aviation at the age of 17. In fact, he's not even driving yet, but he's already accomplished something very rare in the Civil Air Patrol for Montana.
A Civil Air Patrol cadet has reached the status of solo pilot. It's fairly unique among cadets to be awarded the solo pilot wings. Gavin Woods and certified flight instructor Jacob Ramirez wait to take off at Billings-Logan International Airport.
I'm just kind of running everything through my head, how I'm going to take off and how I'm going to move in the traffic pattern or what heading I'm going to hold.
They receive clearance after the military transport plane lands.
Clear for takeoff, wind 080 at 5.
28 right, clear for takeoff, cap 2451.
For the last month and a half, Woods, who is a senior at Skyview High School, has been studying and training for his solo license.
I was a little nervous, especially when, there's nobody there for you. I kind of say that it's like almost being free, alone out there. It's a little challenging because you have to monitor absolutely everything.
The 17-year-old Woods' passion for flying started 4 years ago when he joined the Civil Air Patrol. He's the only current cadet in Montana to earn the solo pilot wings, and the Air Patrol's leadership cannot remember the last one.
For a cadet to get in the air and get his solo wings, it's a big deal, especially in Montana.
Captain Ramirez says the training includes the pre-flight along with knowing the plane and the emergency procedures.
I just want to be completely confident that student, or in this case Master Sergeant Woods, is 100% able to handle any fire failure, anything that happens in the airplane while he's alone.
Chief Master Sergeant Woods' mom says besides learning to fly, he has benefited from being the commander of the young cadets.
Forward, march!
Just has this booming voice. And the first time I heard it, I didn't even know it was my own kid. I had to do a double take, like, where did he come from? Where did that voice come from? I like the confidence building that it's done through the leadership classes and the character development classes.
Good. Now, because they said fly heading 310, can we turn crosswind and downwind whenever we want?
No.
Oh, good.
The experience prepares Woods for a career in the United States Air Force or as a commercial pilot.
It's nice to see him kind of take his own path and find that passion.
It's always fun to see him go up and fly on his own.
I don't think I'd be flying right now or anytime soon if I wasn't in the Civil Air Patrol.
Then Captain Ramirez is going to present Chief Master Sergeant Woods with the official certificate of solo flight.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Careers in the aviation industry are soaring, providing good-paying jobs in a variety of specialties. The problem is there might not be enough qualified people to fill them. But a grant from the Montana Advanced Opportunities Program has allowed St. Ignatius High School to ask for and get flight simulators in the classroom. And that opens a whole new pathway to careers where the sky is the limit.
In the skies above the Mission Valley, students in this aviation class are getting a bird's eye view of what's possible. Not just taking a ride in the sky,
where's your altitude indicator?
But learning what it's actually like to fly with these new in-classroom flight simulators.
When a student is engaging with a simulator, it should be like flying a real plane. We can do all sorts of stuff with the simulator. As a matter of fact, a lot of pilot training has went to simulators first before they put them in an actual plane.
The Montana Advanced Opportunities Grant is a state-funded initiative designed to provide students with enhanced educational opportunities.
Line up to the white lines.
And Mission High School wanted to give their students this technology and course curriculum.
Your engine or your thrust is supposed to go to which of those dots on there? The blue, exactly.
Removing the barrier of cost in pursuing an aviation career and the dozens of jobs it can provide.
Oh, I love it. Being on the sim is one of my favorite things to do during the day. And it's just very interesting to learn how to really fly the plane, and I'm excited to see what the later programs hold.
Joel wants to be a drone pilot someday. Today, he and his co-pilot Greg are flying a Cessna on the simulator, using their checklist and managing the plane's movements in the air as a team. They also get to talk with local volunteer pilots in the Mission Valley about what it's like to fly.
I've talked to the students a couple of times since they've started. It goes into why you want to be a pilot. So it's kind of the mental part of it too, which is incredibly important. You know, it's freedom and it's a level of responsibility that I can't quite describe. I just think it makes you a better person all the way around.
And when we say they're learning from the ground up, we're not kidding.
So far, we've learned more about the history of aviation and how the Wright brothers and even indigenous peoples have contributed to what we see today. And a lot of those factors, all the way from Greek mythology all the way up, have actually played a part of aviation.
And early exposure gives them a way to spread their wings before they even graduate.
So when we talk about career readiness and our preparedness for that, our students are able to work and get certifications before they graduate high school, which is just entry level, but getting your foot into the door for a career and not just, a job.
In St. Ignatius, Jill Valley, MTN News.
It was a day of learning and celebration at Flathead High School as Kalispell students welcomed Ronan High School students for an immersive cultural experience. Ronan students featured members of the Salish and Kootenai tribes, performed ceremonial dances, and taught hands-on cultural lessons to fellow students.
I think it's really important because, it highlights that, my people are still here, we're still strong, we're still resilient, and, we're not going anywhere, we're going to be here.
It was a celebration of dance, hands-on learning, and history Tuesday morning at Flathead High School as Ronan students and members of the Salish and Kootenai tribes shared their stories.
So we were just asked to put together something that the kids in Kalispell School District could learn a little bit more about the different cultures just south of them. And so I went to my students and I said, what would you like others to know about your culture?
Ronan High School Native American Studies teacher Gwen Kutcher says her students came up with a lesson plan showcasing the rich history of Montana's indigenous communities.
But each individual student put together what they wanted to share about who they are and where they come from. So I think that's powerful. No adult said, this is what we need to talk about. They chose it.
Following the performances, Flathead students split into 6 different groups taught by Ronan students to learn more about the Salish language, constructing hand drums, and learning traditional arts and games.
And to really stress, educate people, welcome them in, show them what you want them to understand and know. And most people are more than welcoming to do that.
Ronan High School senior Lulana Brown performed the woman's traditional dance. She's been dancing her entire life.
I feel like we're all very proud to be able to showcase our culture and where we come from. And I was happy that they were all eager to learn what we all do.
I really started dancing like this year at a powwow in July, but I've always practiced at home and did this stuff.
Ronan senior Ignis Kwuksu is a member of the Nez Perce and Salish tribes. He was happy to share stories and teach lessons to Flathead students.
We were here before a lot of people and we're going to be here, after a lot of people. So it feels really good to come out here and dance hard and just represent my people.
Flathead senior Katie Militich was thankful to learn more about different cultures in Montana.
It's really awesome to learn about all the different things they practice and all their meanings of all their dances were really cool to see because it was all about healing and hope and resilience.
In Kalispell, Sean Wells, MTN News.
True Shooting Stars took center stage for Billings' annual Hoop Shoot event. The competition welcomes kids from various skill levels from all across the state, putting their free throw skills to the test. And while the winner makes their way to the national finals in Chicago, this event helps build character.
I've never been the most athletically inclined person, but I've met a couple experts today who are going to show me how to at least dribble a ball.
All right, so what am I doing here?
Thankfully, the kids participating in the Billings Hoop Shoot, like 9-year-old Coach Coulter, are exceptionally patient.
Take your time, turn a little like I do, and go up and shoot.
His mom says that patience is just one of the lessons taken home from the court.
I think it does build confidence and self-worth and the confidence apparently to come up to you and ask to be interviewed.
And as it turns out, basketball can be quite the Zen experience.
Well, I dribble twice and then I look up, pause, go down, and then shoot.
Gabe McPherson says it's a way to take that middle school edge off.
What do you get stressed out about?
Math test or something, just go outside and basketball, and then come back inside and all that stress will be gone.
But for those like EJ Briggs, the pressure is just beginning to rise.
I want to try to make it to that meet. I like everything about basketball. I've loved it since I was like 3. I started putting my hands on the ball when I was like 4.
With a long road ahead, EJ is making some early decisions in his career.
I'm rooting for Florida Gators or Milwaukee Bucks. Those are my 2 favorite teams. Or high school, I like Central because I'm going to go there for high school.
But like any professional player, he's here competing for his fans.
Oh, I just tried to impress my mom, so that's all I do. Just try to impress her.
Marcus Kakova, MTN News.
Still to come on this edition of Positively Montana, tattooing with a cause. Hear how one woman is helping rebuild confidence in others. Stay with us.
More stories from the heart of the Treasure State are on the way when Positively Montana continues after this. Welcome back to Positively Montana.
Welcome back to Positively Montana. An esthetician in the Bitterroot is helping breast cancer survivors regain their confidence. She says the inspiration behind her work is close to her heart.
Paula Cruz was diagnosed with 2 forms of breast cancer at the same time in August of 2015.
My husband, he was out of town on the day I technically got diagnosed, and I remember making the phone call to him for him to come home.
In order to survive, Paula underwent a double mastectomy, which altered her appearance. While she was then cancer-free, she also had to deal with the aftermath of a very invasive surgery.
When you get out of the shower and you look at yourself, it's different.
That's where Wildflower Aesthetics comes in. On the outside, one might think this is a typical beauty spa, but actually it offers a repigmentation service that can help these breast cancer survivors turn their surgery scars into badges of honor.
I chose Wildflower with a Y because the Y was different and unique, and I felt like that represented women.
Julie Grundle was a former sales employee who found her true passion while opening Wildflower in Stevensville.
We did not grow up with a lot of money, and you would walk into a place, and people would look at you, like look you up and down like you didn't belong. And so when I opened this place, that was one of my biggest goals, was that nobody regarding status in life felt that they were unwelcome.
She knew the location would make it an easy commute for people in the Bitterroot. And while she offers IV injections, facials, and other skincare services, Julie has found the most fulfillment in restoring the breast repigmentation for cancer survivors.
We do areola and nipple restoration tattooing.
It's just as rewarding for the clients.
I went about 2.5 years with just nothing, and then Julie and I met a couple of times and started the tattoo process and had our first consult, had a first set, and I have never had them touched up or anything, but I love them.
Julie said one of the best parts of her job is the relationship she forms with her clients.
Some women will cry. If they cry, I cry.
I wanted to look normal again and look like other people. I don't think my husband really cared. But in the long run, he was happy I did it, but yet it made me feel like I was like everybody else again.
In Stevensville, Cynthia Carranza, MTN News.
A nonprofit that began in Kalispell rewarding people for not drinking then driving is expanding to Bozeman. They call themselves the Montana Bar Fairies. They hope their message and story will encourage others to get a designated driver.
People in downtown Bozeman who choose not to drink and drive after a night out will soon see little fairies giving them a gift to thank them for their good choices.
Montana Bar Fairies is a nonprofit that my daughter and I started because my son was killed by a drunk driver in the Flathead on March 23rd after celebrating his 21st birthday.
Bobby Debris was set to graduate from Flathead Valley Community College with a welding certificate. Before, he was hit by a drunk driver while waiting for his sober ride. To ensure that no other family experiences the grief they do, Beth McBride and her daughter Carly Debris decided to start Montana Bar Ferries.
My daughter drove by a bar early in the morning on her way to work, and she saw some cars in the parking lot. And she called me up and she said, "Mom, I wish there was a way that we could thank people for not drinking and driving, for leaving their cars."
The nonprofit began in Kalispell almost a year ago, but an increase in DUI-related accidents in Gallatin County brought the bar ferries to Bozeman.
There seems to be a desire for the community here to say, you know what, we're done. It's over. We're not accepting drunk driving anymore. It's time to save some lives.
According to the Gallatin County DUI Task Force, Gallatin County consistently ranks in the top 5 most dangerous counties in Montana for impaired driving, with Bozeman police issuing a majority of all DUIs in the county. Bozeman's chapter director and MSU student Patricia Hinchy says there's no better time to start their work in Bozeman than the weekend of Cat Grizz.
Sunday morning, we're going to be going really early and placing coffee carts on cars around downtown, in the parking lots, along the streets. And so if you're lucky, you might get a coffee card thanking you for not drinking and driving after the Cat Grizz game.
Included with each coffee card is a card with a story of someone who lost their life to a drunk driver. Patricia says they're looking for Bozeman families willing to share their story, as well as more volunteers.
We want to take Montana from being the worst state for DUI fatalities to 0. And we need the community's help to do that.
Visit our website for details on how to get involved. In Bozeman, Heaven Van, MTN News.
Still to come on this edition of Positively Montana, restoring an historic building for all to enjoy. A closer look at the project right after the break. Welcome back to Positively Montana. Dillon's historic Andrus Hotel continues to be restored to its former glory, and now its grand lobby will be opened as a community gathering space.
I'm in the former lobby of the historic Andrus Hotel, which was built 107 years ago, right here in the heart of Dillon. Now this room has been converted into a gathering place for the community. And believe it or not, members of the Andrus family have been involved in helping sustain this wonderful legacy.
It's very exciting to me, and I love that I can be a part of it.
Donna Andrus Jones's grandfather, H.E. Andrus, built the hotel in 1917 after working as a rancher in Dell. The hotel stayed in the Andrus family for decades, at a time when Dillon was still a rustic ranching town.
You'd come out of church and there'd be a whole band of sheep there that you'd have to wait to go by, but that was just the way it was in Dillon.
After decades in business, the hotel shut down, but was reopened in 2020 by Dr. John Micah. He said he fell in love with the town's architecture.
This street here, South Idaho Street, is like the Fifth Avenue of Dillon here. I mean, it has magnificent buildings.
The Andrus Hotel had a colorful history, including a Great Dane that acted as a bellhop.
He could hear the whistle, and he would go and meet the train, and then when people would get off of the train, he would just pick up their bag and bring them over to the hotel.
Doggy bellhop aside, the Andrus was considered a high-class hotel.
So this building, when it was built, was one of the best, finest buildings in the whole Northwest. I mean, not just Dillon, everywhere.
In Dillon, John Amey, MTN News.
Thanksgiving has come and gone, but before students went on break, the teens and teachers of Red Lodge High School came together for a celebration of gratitude.
By and large, it's a similar story across America.
We got a little cut of prime rib today, potatoes, all the fixings.
A meal shared typically with those we are born to. Red Lodge High School make sure it's no exception.
Tables were put together family style, and so it wasn't spread out in little cliques.
Here, teachers and teens alike eat together.
It kind of just gives a more humane side to the staff that's working here and makes you connect with them a little bit more.
A Thanksgiving ceremony in which students and staff come together to make food, dress the tables, and serve one another.
I'm the PE teacher, so I'm just filling in today. Just giving back to the kids. They give us so much.
It's a way to ensure everyone feels at home.
Like having the Thanksgiving dinner here together in that setting, not everybody gets that all the time, every year.
But feeling at home also means letting go of the pressures of life.
I think to be playful is acceptable. So much in high school, we're always thinking about our futures.
For students like Riven Moore, having the future waiting around the corner means a lot of prep work.
I'm the student body president on our student council. I'm also the president of our outdoor club, and then I'm an active member of Green Team. I'm a student trustee on our school board, and then I'm also an active member of Interaction Club.
Wow, how do you find time for all that?
It's really hard.
So, before their meal, each year, the school makes thankful chains.
There's a lot of giggling during this project. It's all hands on deck, and there's a lot of fun and laughing and competitiveness.
Nearly 2,000 feet of paper clippings stapled together by students, distributed around town to businesses.
They were made by the Red Lodge High School.
It's a way to say thank you for being home.
I think it's a really good opportunity for the students to kind of get to know the community better and really connect with them. I mean, we're so interconnected here.
Marcus Kokova, thanks for being home, Montana.
People are getting into the holiday spirit now that Thanksgiving has passed, and the Helena Salvation Army and Marines Toys for Tots are looking for help. Until December 14th, the Helena Area Marines Toys for Tots will have their toy donation boxes at over 250 locations throughout the Tri-County area. The organization expects to provide toys to at least 600 families this season. You'll also see and hear kettlebell ringers for the Helena Salvation Army. Salvation Army is looking for volunteers for their 12 Helena area kettle locations from now until December 24th. This year, they have the goal of raising $70,000 to fund their services.
We really could not make our program successful without the donors. And who doesn't want to give a little bit extra every Christmas, right?
We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Positively Montana. I'm Hallie Schwannard, and I'll see you right back here next week.